Relationships. While not as outgoing as Reimu and Marisa are, she does have quite a bit of relationships. Let's talk about how she is with the residents of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, considering she lives in the place as the head maid. She is loyal to Remelia's Scarlet and serves her as the head maid without question, a servitude in which no one knows why either trust each other so much. She follows Remelia's request even when she knows they won't work, such as catching Lily White to restore Spring in Strange and Bright Nature deity, as requested by her mistress, the truest of maids. When Remelia playfully criticizes Sakuya for her failure to catch Spring, she takes it in good stride and doesn't disagree. She's lucky it was Sakuya. $20 if Remelia had said that to Reimu, she'd receive a fantasy seal up her ass. She will also do things for Remelia which she won't even ask, like accompanying her in Imperishable and Immaterial or trying to in the latter case, or putting on a sleet of hand magic show for Remelia without warning in Curiosity of Rose Asia. On occasion, she's more of a babysitter than a maid. I mean, your master looks like a kid. It's no surprise really. She chastises Remelia in her Scarlet Weather and Immaterial Victory codes for sneaking out food or playing around too much. Just a reminder that Sakuya ain't afraid to call you out on your bullshit. Next on the list will be Mei Ling. Hong Mei Ling is a fellow employee who she constantly pesters about her work productivity, as shown in Immaterial and Hiso Tensoko victory quotes. Mei Ling seems easily frightened when Sakuya shows even a slight bit of anger, as shown in Strange and Bright Nature deity. Can't exactly blame her. Do you really want to piss off a time-stopping, knife-wielding maid? However, in Mei Ling's Hiso Tensoko ending, when Mei Ling is found sleeping on the job, Sakuya takes Mei Ling inside because she is worried Mei Ling will get heat stroke. You can't deny that Sakuya is a real bro there. She also serves Patchouli knowledge since she rarely leaves her room. That sounds about right. Sakuya has the highest authority as the chief maid, yet Patchouli's rank is noticeably higher within the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Sakuya may also be serving her because Patchouli is Remelia's friend, though she does care for Patchouli personally. In Silent Sinner, she takes a private moment to watch and smile at Patchouli, who's blissfully unaware as she's researching a new magical breakthrough. While on the subject of Patchouli, let's talk about Kokuma now. Kokuma is simply a fellow employee of the Scarlet Devil Mansion and presumably nothing more. That's unfortunate. Would have loved to see more about these two servants. The next person will be Flandre. On top of serving Remelia, she presumably serves her younger sister, Flandre, who is usually not allowed out of the Scarlet Devil Mansion due to her emotional instability. However, this is not stated, implied, or depicted in any official work. Someone prepares Flandre's food, which are human prepared in the shape of pastries and other pleasant things, but it's never stated to be Sakuya. The next part won't be designated towards a specific person, but a group. As the head maid, Sakuya has precedence over all the other fairy maids of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She is familiar with each one and notices any abnormalities such as the 3 fairies of light dressing up as 3 of the maids. That's actually pretty impressive if we consider there is to be a lot of fairies working there. Due to the poor work productivity of the fairies, Sakuya presumably does most of the work. An advertisement in Bohemian states Sakuya interviews for recruiting, so she may have interviewed the majority, if not every, of fairy maids herself. That's a lot of work, no doubt. When it comes to visitors, Sakuya is quite familiar with Marisa. Despite Marisa's Kurisame's tendency to borrow books from the library, Sakuya has shown on a few occasions, mainly endings, to be quite friendly with Marisa, going so far as to serve her snacks and teas and hiding her from Patchouli. This may explain Patchouli's low catness rating in Immaterial. What a bro you are, Sakuya. Another in this list will be the residents from Iente. From the events of Imperishable, Sakuya is one of the few people who knew that Eren and Kaguya are from the moon, and presumably keeping it a secret. Eren's profile states Eren is surprised to see Sakuya, but only Eren knows why. Sakuya has not shown any abnormal interactions or familiarity with Eren that could hint at what this is. She was suspicious of Eren during the rocket party in Inaba of the Moon and Inaba of the Earth, but so was everyone who knew Eren was from the moon. Zune's only hints in regards to this can be seen above in the section about Konohana Sakihime, Lunarian Sakuya perhaps? Let's discuss some of the minor relationships Sakuya has. Starting this off, let's talk about the 3 fairies of light. Sakuya met them in the Omegan Eastern and Little Nature deity, where she stops their prank by throwing some knives at them. In Strange and Bright Nature deity, at the mansion, she saw through their maid disguises but didn't say a word and let them stay. She eventually kicked them out, according to the fairy's conversation, or frightened them by telling them if they don't work, they don't eat. Sakuya was smiling, so she may have been speaking as a matter of factly. Later, when they're spying on Sakuya and others at the Hakurei shrine, she sees them, revealing she can see through their abilities to hide themselves, even though Reimu and Marisa cannot. She cheerfully invites them to join, but this only scares them into running away, which disappoints her. Elegant maid sees through all. Next would be Alice Margatrode. Ever since PCB, Sakuya attacks Alice whenever either visits each other's house, and for no good reason. Sakuya says she's attacking an immaterial to release stress. I mean, that's one way to do it. In Scarlet Weather, she says it's to punish Alice for intruding, even though Alice has already left. In both cases, Alice thought it was a poor reason, and in comparison, Marisa and Yomu don't even get into trouble when caught intruding in the mansion. In fact, they usually get tea instead. Damn, Sakuya be hating Alice. Last on this list would be Chirino. Sakuya has trouble understanding why Chirino finds freezing frogs or flowers fun in Phantasmagoria of Flowerview, but at least came to understand Fairy's recklessness from watching Chirino's fight in Hiso Tensoko. Chirino does not want to be a fairy maid. A maid Chirino. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious. Fun facts. Let's talk about fun facts, and oh boy does she have a lot. Probably more than both Reimu and Marisa combined, but I could be wrong. Remember when I said Lunarian Sakuya? This would be a good time to elaborate on it. This fact will be discussing Sakuya's species. Zune's emails has referred to her as a human, as do most of her official profiles. In Perfect Memento, Akio considers Sakuya as a human, but wonders if she is not actually from Gensokyo, but perhaps one of the many other worlds including Higen, the Netherworld, the Lunar Capital, and the outside world. Reimu questions her humanity in EOSD, but throughout the series, Sakuya insists and refers to herself as a human very often. Perfect Memento states her ability to control time is an extremely powerful ability for a human to possess. No fucking shit! Sakuya doesn't seem to react abnormally regarding to either the Lunarian from the moon or the moon itself in any official work, nor does any alien in regards to Sakuya. For example, Yorihime doesn't show any recognition of her. The next would be in relations to Sakuya's eyes being red. In EOSD and possibly in Material and Scarlet Weather spell cards, there are parts when her eyes become red. In EOSD, it may possibly be due to the Scarlet Mist incident, but it was inferred that those were able to manipulate the eyes of insanity. In Imperishable, at the scene where Remilia worried that Sakuya might become insane at the time, Kaguya cast the light of the true full moon. Even when Sakuya looked at the true full moon, there did not seem to be any abnormality caused by the full moon. However, Imperishable's good ending indicates Sakuya went a bit mad. Additionally, Zune drew Sakuya with red eyes shortly after the release of Imperishable, and answered a fan's question about her red eyes in the picture, stating that she played through the games to understand. The implication here is that Sakuya did indeed go mad. That being said, Reimu and Marisa passed through seeing the moon just fine, although they had their own reasons as to why they don't become insane. Let's talk about Sakuya's relationship towards Konohana Sakuya Hime. Zune has said that the contents of Touhou Bogetsu's show contained a hint as for the reason why Eren was surprised at seeing Sakuya. In Cajun Lunatic, there appeared another character with the same first name, Konohana Sakuya Hime. If Eren is indeed Yago Koro, Omo Kane no Kami, she would know Konohana Sakuya Hime, since the latter is the wife of Nigi no Mikoto, Omi Kane's nephew. Thus, the fact that Sakuya shares the same name as her nephew's wife would be a reason why Eren was surprised. It would explain something, and hopefully I will not have to say these long ass names again. Since the two share the same first name though, there's a possibility that Sakuya is based off of Konohana Sakuya Hime, or at least in some other way related. In the Kojiki, Konohana Sakuya Hime was written as what you see on the screen, where the this corresponds to the ya, therefore making every part of the name Sakuya with a basis in Konohana Sakuya Hime. Furthermore, there were tales related to Konohana Sakuya Hime where she can be seen as controlling time like Sakuya, like the tale of the one-night pregnancy and the delivery in the middle of fire. A one-night pregnancy. That could make life a lot easier for women. One of the more cooler facts would be a possibility of her being a vampire hunter. Sakuya being a vampire hunter is a theory that's widely accepted by Q, based on the fact that her silver knives are the same kind used to slay vampires and other demons. Silver is one of the prime weaknesses of vampire. The theory that was said by Q claims that long ago a young vampire hunter was training herself, defeating smaller demons in an unknown location, but never had the chance to fight a vampire. Confident in her abilities, she decided to set out on a journey to slay vampires and ended up at the Scarlet Devil Mansion. There she saw Reimu Scarlet, who was surprisingly strong, and Reimu easily defeated her. However, Reimu wanted the girl's power for assault, so she spared her life and gave her a new name, which also gave her a completely opposite fate, Sakuya Izayoi. Sakuya then became the head maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion before it was moved to Tokyo. This may also have some relations to her species theory that might explain why Sakuya worked well with Touhou. The more unique of this list would be the human cuisine. That doesn't sound good. Sakuya's involvement in the human cuisine of the Scarlet Devil Mansion is unknown. All official details regarding this topic can be interpreted both ways. In other words, there exists neither confirmation nor never been shown preparing humans. It's stated that all other maids in the mansions are practically useless and Sakuya is the one who does all the work. This heavily implies that she is involved in cooking as well, since it's one of the biggest duties in a household. Flandre confesses to Reimu and EOSD that she has no idea who prepares her human food, but doesn't think it's Reimu. Her profile confirms that the pastries she eats are made from humans, but doesn't say who prepares the pastries. In Walden Hearn Hermit, Chapter 11, Sakuya comments at the flower viewing party, "It's been a while since I've seen such a seedy looking food. I usually see steak dripping with blood." Music comments in EOSD by Zune states that Reimu's tea is blood. In Strange and Bright Nature Deity, Sakuya asked Reimu if she thought her latest, non-human tea tasted like blood. Also, Sakuya's ending in Immaterial mentions that tea time is usually red tea. Eiki Shiki lectures that Sakuya's sin is coldness towards human, and Sakuya answered with, "That would be because the only thing I touch humans would be my cold steel." This particular conversation confirms two things. Sakuya generally doesn't try to be friends with human, and when she comes into contact with them, blades would be involved. The second piece of information could mean her knives in Damaku battle with Reimu and Marisa, or she does cut humans during meal preparation. Yikes! Remind me not to join the SDM crew when it comes to dinner and such. Being eaten by a lowly vampire is not something I want to be remembered by. And to finish it off, let's talk about her inspiration, if you will. Performing a Jack the Ripper-like act. Sakuya's spell card names are all mostly like Illusion Sign Killer Doll that are dangerous and disturbing without limit. Moreover, in the preparing of tea and cake for Flandre, humans are normally eaten, and since Sakuya does most of the cooking for the Scarlet Devil Mansion, it can be perceived this as Reimu having employed a Sakuya who has become accustomed to murdering people. There do seems to be things that are surely related to a character modeled off of Jack the Ripper. Her cut-in image in EOSD has a knife holster attached above her left knee that looks like it is most likely for a dagger than a throwing knife. This is probably a depiction from one which would guess that Sakuya is left-handed, however there has been no official statement about her handiness so far. There are also theories for why the unidentified Jack the Ripper might be female, in which case she would be called Jill the Ripper. Jill the Ripper. I definitely learned something new here.